As you know, Ontario is jacking up its minimum wage from $11.60 to a whopping $14 next year, and then $15 18 months from today. Do you think that people who are working for $11.60 an hour today are suddenly going to be worth almost 50% more to their employers in 18 months' time? If you think that, I'm guessing you've never run a company. You've never had to pay bills, never had to make a payroll, never had to balance your budget. In other words, you're a liberal. Here's the story in the Post. A new study by economics professors shows that this is hitting immigrants hard. Let me quote, based on 185 minimum wage hikes implemented by Canadian provinces from 1981 to 2011, we find that increasing minimum wages led to a reduction in employment rates of not just teenagers, but also immigrants. Specifically, a 10% increase in the minimum wage can be linked to an approximately 2% decline in employment rates of immigrants aged 25 to 54 years old. And like I say, they're going up by almost 50%. Now that's no surprise, is it? Let me quote some more. Now this is by Anindya Sen, that was one of the professors at Waterloo who wrote this. Roughly 19% of immigrants are minimum wage employees. Why might a minimum wage hike hurt immigrants most? If businesses are hiring less, with no change in the supply of available workers, then they may prefer Canadian-born applicants whose experience and qualifications are more easily relatable to Canadian business owners, unquote. Well, of course, and that's not racism. That's employers saying, yeah, we just can't afford to pay more for people who don't speak English well, or don't have skills we need, or don't have real experience in our Western customer service economy. But of course, others are hurt too. Here's more from the professor in the Financial Post. Adverse minimum wage effects are not restricted to immigrants. An earlier study I co-authored was the first to investigate minimum wage impacts with respect to the percentage of families falling below Statistics Canada's low-income cutoff, an unofficial but common measure for poverty. Here's the killer. We found that a higher minimum wage paradoxically resulted in an increase in the percentage of low-income households, possibly generated by family members losing their jobs as a result of employers responding to higher minimum wages. Let me translate that into plain English. You raise the minimum wage, you make more poor people. Okay, well that's the leftist approach to labor issues these days. Stick it to employers, stick it to the capitalists and top hats, even if it doesn't help workers. Of course, it does help big labor unions by pricing their lower cost minimum wage competitors out of the market. This is not actually about helping poor people. It's about protecting unions and their high cost structure from low cost competition. Now, this study was focused on new immigrants. A more normal media culture would care about how it affects all Canadians as opposed to just foreigners who come to live here and work here. But it also does raise the point, why on earth are we bringing in more low-skilled people and making them unemployable at the same time? That's an excerpt from my daily TV show, The Ezra Levant Show. Normally it's behind a paywall, but I thought you'd like this video, so we put it on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to watch the daily show every day, including always 2 interviews a day, and I read my hate mail, just click on this screen and become a premium member.